Hello friends, my name is Roscoe Bindleton, and I'm traveling with my friends Poppy, Murtaugh, and Effendra. In the last episode, we saved and doomed a village over the course of an afternoon. Murtaugh and Effendra vowed to bring back Lysel using any means necessary, and Poppy was not happy about it. Neither was I, if I'm being honest. And that brings us to our current events. We're headed out west to attack a goblin camp. The thing about a goblin camp is that you will not find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. However, it's starting to feel like we can't do anything without this Lady Lysel getting pumped full of wicked magics first. This time, Effendra spoke to the dead Githyanki woman, and we learned that there may be a cure waiting for us at a creche. This was a place of Githyanki origin, and I wasn't so sure we'd be welcomed even if we could find it. We logged the information for later use, but we weren't going to be acting on it anytime soon, for fear of reprisals. Poppy saw a plethora of people preoccupied with panic, and we prepared for battle. However, we wanted to at least attempt diplomacy for once.
You want me to just leap in? I mean, see, that's what I'm barbarian. Everything you guys just explained, that's all I heard. I'm going to stand back here, because I'm a bull in the china shop. You guys do your things, and then let's do it.
It turns out the man on the ground had been injured. People referred to him as a true soul. We found out that meant he too was inoculated with a brain-sucking parasite. This was both alarming and gross. I got distracted for a moment.
That bitch is gonna make me break my oath of chastity.
And before I knew it, the man on the ground was telepathically talking to me. In the Emerald Grove, a bard named Volo told me that the goblins worshipped the Absolute. And if the goblins like the Absolute, then I do not. It seems the true souls are some form of chosen allies for the Absolute, and being a true soul must mean having a tadpole in the brain. We felt like we had a lot to learn from these followers of the Absolute, so we played along for now. We decided to help them kill an owlbear, which was the thing that had grievously wounded their brother. As I inspected the fresh corpse before me, I sensed that I would be able to grow in strength by consuming his tadpole. He certainly didn't need it anymore. I have to admit that the thought of additional power was tempting. However, I was still firmly resting in the camp that I would like to have this worm out of my head instead of making it stronger. Besides, that could have just made me into an anime-style tentacle monster even faster than before. I was going to just have to store it somewhere for now.
I'm gonna keep this one in my ass. I'm gonna store this one in a prison wallet.
Stick it in his lizard ass pocket.
This one's going straight up the cloaca.
That was the word I couldn't think of.
Man.
We pressed on into the cave, led by our new friends. It was time to face the injured owlbear, and tensions were high. So high, in fact, that one of our new companions piddled in his diaper and tried to run away. Effendra used the Care Bear stare to convince him to stay. It's no fun having a companion you can't count on in battle, but at least he'd work as a meat shield if things went sour. We started the battle with a sense of urgency. We needed attacks to land straight away, so I inspired Effendra with my songs. She immediately let the hate flow through her and forced lightning from her fingertips. A stellar first strike on this terrifying beast. In a rage, the owlbear struck out at the quivering meat shield we decided to keep around, but the attack missed. And after leaping onto our team...
Damn, he moving.
I am knocked down. Why didn't
Alright,
you get me?
we're killing the cub. Fuck the cub.
What? No, we said we were saving the cub. Fuck that. We're not killing the cub.
Mufasa has sealed Simba's fate.
She was surrounded now, and we were giving her our best. It seems the College of Swords is treating me well. That last attack even impressed Effendra.
Wow. Wow.
However, for some reason, Effie wanted to save the owlbear.
Are we sure that we're killing this bear? Like, we can't knock this bear out?
No doubt to make another foul pact with a vile creature. Reluctantly, though.
About a cadabra.
In the back of the cave, we found a shrine to Saluna, and with it, a magical chest. So magical, in fact, that it straight up murdered Effendra when she continued to try to pry it open. What a mistake. We never did get the chest open, although I suspect that reading a Selunite prayer was the answer. I was going to put the chest in my pocket for later review, but I took an explosion to the front of the pants. I'll spare you the details, but needless to say I decided to not try anything like that ever again. Making our way out of the cave, we decided to abandon our new friends at the earliest convenience. As we went up the hill, we noticed a gate that led into the blighted village. We sensed that there was an ambush waiting. To be honest, it was easy to sense, because goblins smell like a bog dragon's bollocks on a hot day. A smell so thick and vile that it's a wonder it can be carried on a breeze at all. Our fortunes were favorable, however, because Poppy had located a crumbled corner of the ruins that were just long and viney enough to perform a sneak entrance. Those of us who favored ranged combat climbed a roof, while Murtaugh performed a daring curb stomp on a sleeping bugbear. That poor curb. It's dirty now. As we crested the roof, Effendra calmly warned us about something to do with wizards and the goblins of fire.
Oh, there's dudes up here. Holy shit, there's fucking dudes up here.
A plan was hatched, and we knew what we needed to do. Poppy and I very carefully crept forward. Poppy couldn't resist snatching some goods.
She's stolen shit.
And on the count of 3,
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
the battle had properly commenced.
Oh,
That was
they're
dope.
still alive.
I had heard in a bardic tradition that people normally danced and said hallelujah when it was raining men, but I guess when I do it, it's an act of war or something. We noticed some extra target practice available across the street,
Oh, there's some across the way too.
and it seems like they
Oh,
may
yeah,
have
roof,
noticed the
yeah.
aggravated assault. They wanted to have a word with us about it, so I made a plan to deliver them a letter. And by letter, I mean a series of arrows into their hearts, smarts, and naughty parts.
They're only temporarily hostile.
They're goblins. They're permanent hostile. They're kill on sight.
We nearly forgot there was another goblin inside the house, but it wasn't worth chasing him down and giving up the high ground. You know who didn't have high ground? Murtaugh. Let's talk about that.
What?
What have you
1,
done?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Where the
Okay.
fuck are you?
What did you do?
There is a guy on top of this roof, and he had so many friends. Don't worry, I'm gonna go out in the blaze of glory.
What?
I believe you
Why
guys
can't
might
you
be here.
just stay with the fucking group?
You
God
guys-
damn it!
You guys are doing all this parkour and sneak shit. I can't do any of that.
That's right, he pulled 9 guys into combat because he was exploring the area. Now, to be fair, he may not have had a reference for the goblins we were actually talking about, and in all likelihood, he thought he was just helping us. But the only thing helped by his actions was his quest to die a glorious death in battle. Personally, I wasn't willing to let my good friend go out in the hands of these greasy garbage sacks. I would rip his soul back from the gates of the hells if it was the last thing I did on this forsaken pile of dirt we now call a home. Speaking of saving lives,
Yo, I need help.
Effendra needs some milk. Unfortunately, my heal was minor, but it was better than a stick in the eye. We had a great plan to use magical hands and familiar birds to interfere with, beguile, and otherwise assassinate the walking boogers on the opposite roof, and this plan went up in smoke. The mage hand I had previously summoned was so sneaky, even I didn't realize that it survived the explosion. And now he had the chance to get a free kill on an extremely wicked enemy. And push!
Whoosh! Oh,
Oh,
damn.
come on, man. That was my whole big plan, dog.
Oh,
It's okay. Maybe I just wasn't meant to have a good life. Effendra was telling me that I had to stay the course and maintain the high ground. She promised the enemies would give up their tactical advantage because they have brains the size of a raisin and the tactical prowess of a muddy fart. Poppy had the perfect opportunity to make a stealth strike from above and...
Boom.
Damn. Holy shit.
14. Fuck.
Damn. Oh
Make
yeah,
him come.
dash on over. I'm gonna turn this motherfucker into a green mist. Gonna look like somebody spilled some guacamole when I'm done with him.
whack
Gonna
them
get
both.
fucked.
I felt like that was really cool. So I basically stole her move, and you know something? It worked pretty darn well. That combat was over, and we were ready to save Murtaugh. To our surprise, one of those bandits wanted to talk to us. He fancied himself some kind of leader, but he was nothing more than a skirt-high dirt pie in my eyes. He was torturing a deep gnome by spinning him on a windmill, and he threatened to do that same to us. As Effendra spoke with him, I was already mentally preparing for running this git through. He said he'd accept 1,000 gold coins, and then he'd let us walk away. The day I get extorted by a goblin who got his hair cut at the toilet store is the day I sing my last song. I was now certain that I would be killing this swill demon, but we needed to heal Murtaugh before it was too late. Effendra did some wizard things that I won't pretend to understand, and read his mind. The goblin tried to raise the price, but the only thing that was raisin was the size of his brain. He didn't realize that 5 gold was less than 1,000. We happily paid his higher fee so we could buy some time to save the man, the myth, the Murtaugh. And Effendra was easily able to res Murtaugh without any incident or mishap. It is extremely unlikely that in another universe I tried to use a mage hand and pulled everything and we all died. That never happened once, so you won't be hearing any stories about that sticky pickle, because it didn't happen right before we loaded the game and tried again. Murtaugh then heroically leapt for safety and landed directly on his neck at one of those angles that makes you not alive anymore. He was picked up again. We knew we needed a long night of rest before we engaged the rest of this town. Of course, when we tried to sleep, that grease jockey Asterion was back to his old shenanigans. Effendra was more than willing to donate blood again, which is, how you say, a one-way trip to Bad Planistan. I was busy speaking with Shadowheart for totally normal reasons when her hand lit up with purple flames. Where I'm from, spontaneous combustion is a cause for concern, so I asked her the important questions like, WTF? And also, "Excuse me, you're on fire, innit?" To which she responded, "None your business," and also shut up.
What's going on with her?
I don't know, I got a bad feeling about suicide.
While everyone finished up, I began planning what I would sell to the next vendor we found.
I think I can add my underwear to my wares, you know? Who needs
You don't need that.
And
Yeah,
that,
lizards have a dick in this game?
that motherfucker is heavy with scales.
I feel sorry for any woman.
Dude, I got 4 AC on my scrot alone.
Now we were rested, we had eaten well, socialized for a while, and it was time to kill literally everything in sight that isn't tall enough to ride the Ferris wheel. We were all in position and ready to start, so I sent a mage hand to potentially flick a guy off the ledge. I lined it up, flicked the booger, and then he flew a completely different direction than what I was promised. I'm not mad, you're mad. However, this initiated combat, and we were ready for action. Just kidding, they killed the mage hand and combat was done. So I shot an arrow to start combat instead. And they didn't see me. So combat failed to start yet again. Luckily, Effendra dropped a big fart cloud on them and stung their eyes and blinded them all, and they remained grouped up long enough for me to light them up with fairy fire, making them easier to hit. Poppy killed a goblin before I even knew what was happening. They began running forward exactly as we hoped, and that sprung our trap card. Unfortunately, Murtaugh jumped onto Fezerick with a glorious and majestic flying elbow drop right when I looked away. However, those that saw the full splendor of the attack were left in awe.
The juice is loose.
Whoa!
Oh shit! That was fucking dope!
I wanted to light this city ablaze, starting with the wargs that were standing on a grease pile. However, I thought Effendra might be upset if I cooked her familiar. So I settled for a massively powerful twin shot from my crossbow. The frog got roasted only moments later, but at least it wasn't my fault. Effendra was heartbroken and she fell to her knees in grief. Oh wait, that wasn't grief. That was a pool of her own blood because she got absolutely destroyed by many enemies. In a rage, Murtaugh smashed Fezerick's teeth into a fine powder, causing two things to happen. The first was instant and irreversible death for Fezerick because his brain was scrambled and seasoned with tooth powder. The second was the rest of the goblins immediately realizing they were doomed to suffer the same fate. And believe it or not, that was all the convincing they needed. They all casually walked back to their positions as if nothing had just happened. It's not normal for a goblin to make a wise choice, but there's a first time for everything. Poppy and I investigated the windmill in an attempt to save the deep gnome when we found a pair of levers. While it would have been hilarious to speed up the windmill, instead we pulled the brake lever and became heroes. As we did that, Effendra became an orc and started speaking to dead people. It's wild the sort of things that become normal when you travel with someone like her. Naturally, being a filthy goblin, Fezerick used his last unnatural breath to call Murtaugh a coward. Goblins are already spitting in the face of nature by even existing. And this abomination has to take it one step further by being reanimated just to sling insults. We did also learn that there are legions of goblins serving the Absolute, and I was starting to think that this whole Absolute business may become an issue. By that time, we had recovered our Deep Gnome, and he was relatively grateful for that. He did assume that we were about to extort him and demand payment, which I hadn't planned to do. But when someone accuses you of being a monster, it just kind of makes you want to act like one, you know? Still, we resisted the urge, but he offered his lost backpack as tribute. Very useful. A lost backpack. It's okay. Maybe he'll become a useful ally later on in our journey.
If we should meet again, well, we will have met again.
There you go.
In the next episode, we engage a gaggle of ogres. Will we engage them with blades or diplomacy? We'll also be engaging in some behavior that is best not to be spoken aloud. If you'd like to come along for that nefarious adventure, then please do subscribe to the channel, and if you love this series, then sharing it is the best way to help these videos get seen. I do appreciate all of you who have helped me along the way, and for now, I want to thank you for watching. I have been Rage Panda 1, and I'll see you in the next one.